Well, the U.S. is stepping up pressure on Egypt's government. White House Press Secretary Robert Gibbs said that leaders have yet to reach the minimum threshold in meeting protesters' demand, while demonstrations have gathered renewed vigor entering the third week. For the latest now, let's cross over to Lara Setrakian in Dubai. She was in Cairo when the protests turned violent. Lara, why isn't the Obama administration satisfied by the concessions?
Well, Francine, what we've seen in the past day is tougher talk from Washington, and that comes with a widening and hardening of the two positions, the protesters and the regime really digging in their heels here. We've seen a huge gulf, not just over the departure of President Mubarak, but over issues like the emergency law, a kind of martial law that's been in place for 3 decades. Now, the White House seems to be growing frustrated with the slow pace of change from the regime, and as it's trying to navigate a position between these two sides, they seem to be throwing more weight behind the protesters' position. We heard the White House spokesman yesterday saying that some of the elements in the regime seem to think they can put this genie back in the bottle when they can't. Now, Egypt's foreign minister delivered a response, a kind of message to the White House that stability could be undermined in its increasing push for change.
I hope that we are all rational enough to go on a gradual change. An abrupt, sudden change might entail very deep risks for Egypt. Chaos, violence. I detest, I hate to see the country being engulfed in that kind of violence.
And Lara, now that protests are escalating, does the situation look like it just may be more difficult to resolve?
Well, it certainly seems that way if you talk to the opposition. I interviewed Ayman Noor yesterday. He's one of the lead politicians of the opposition camp, and he said that they had called off their participation in talks with the regime, that committee we heard about earlier this week had all but dissolved. Also, the protesters saying they are going to keep this up. They're going to expand their efforts. They're undeterred by these regime arguments that stability, that violence are all in play here. But that does convince a lot of Egyptians and voices outside the country to back the regime as it does it its own way here, trying to navigate these changes.
Lara, thank you so much. Lara Setrakian there.